Before you say I do, have you ever wondered what secrets might be hiding just beneath the surface of a perfect wedding day? Some secrets demand to be uncovered, especially when the smiles seem a little too forced and the laughter echoes with something unspoken. What happens when a wedding isn't just a celebration, but the curtain call for a much darker story? When the vows are spoken, but the truth remains hidden in the shadows? Today we pull back the layers on Pastor John Paul Miller's wedding, a day wrapped in smiles and vows, but shadowed by secrets that refuse to stay buried. In this video, we're diving deep into a web of deception, heartbreak, and unanswered questions. From strange ceremonies to chilling coincidences, we're exposing truths that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. We'll investigate the mysterious history of Pastor Miller, the secrets his congregation tried to keep hidden, and the shocking revelations that surfaced on his wedding day. Our team has uncovered exclusive details, spoken to insiders, and pieced together a timeline that reveals just how deep the deception goes. Trust me, you're going to want to watch this one all the way to the end because the truth behind Pastor John Paul Miller's wedding is more shocking than anyone could have imagined. All right, y'all, I've been sitting here staring at this blank page, trying to figure out how to even begin unraveling what happened at Pastor John Paul Miller's wedding. The whole event was a whirlwind, chaotic, tense, and honestly, it left me questioning everything I thought I knew about this man and his so-called ministry. I don't even know where to start with this mess, but I can promise you this, what I witnessed was nothing short of shocking. And trust me, I have a lot to say. None of it good about Pastor John Paul Miller, so buckle up because the truth is darker than you think. This man just got married, again, in Myrtle Beach. But this wasn't your typical celebration. There was an undercurrent of tension in the salty air. To Susie Skinner, yes, that's Susie, the one everyone's been whispering about for months. And listen, normally I'm not in the business of dragging people on their wedding day. When your wedding comes with a side of bodyguards, 0 kids in attendance, and a guest list that's been double-checked for troublemakers, you know something's up. And let's not forget, 2 dead spouses in the rear-view mirror. That's not just a coincidence, that's a headline. The emotional weight was heavy. Grief, suspicion, and a dash of fear. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a spectacle. And everyone there knew it. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it. And trust me, you'll wanna hear what really happened that day. Let's start with the obvious. There's a heaviness that hangs over this story, like the thick clouds that gathered on the day of the wedding. John Paul Miller is not a victim. He stands at the pulpit with a confidence that borders on arrogance, as if the world owes him forgiveness. He's not some sweet church guy who's just unlucky in love. No, ask anyone who's been close to him. There are stories whispered in the hallways, stories of trust broken and hearts left in pieces. This man has a trail of broken lives behind him, and the pain he's caused isn't just rumor. It's written on the faces of those who once believed in him. And I don't know how the hell he's still preaching anything except excuses. For every sermon he gives, there's a story of someone left behind, wondering how they ever trusted him in the first place. In April of last year, tragedy struck when Micah Miller, Pastor John Paul Miller's second wife, was discovered dead at a state park. She had suffered a fatal gunshot wound. The news sent shockwaves through the community, and the scene was quickly swarmed by police and emergency responders, their flashing lights cutting through the quiet of the park. Authorities were quick to rule her death a self-unaliving, but the official story didn't sit right with those who truly knew and loved Micah. At a press conference where law enforcement insisted there was no foul play, but outside protesters and family members demanded answers, holding signs and pleading for a deeper investigation. Just days before her death, Micah had filed for divorce from John Paul Miller. Court records confirmed the filing, and friends described her as determined to start a new chapter, despite the emotional toll it was taking on her. Micah confided in friends and her counselor that she was terrified for her safety. She described feeling watched, and her anxiety was growing by the day. Text messages later obtained by investigators revealed her fears in her own words. "I don't feel safe. I think he's following me." Her family reported that Micah had discovered a GPS tracker hidden on her car. Police collected the device as evidence, but no charges were filed. The discovery only deepened suspicions and heightened the sense of danger surrounding her. Not long after, her tires were slashed, twice in the same month. Police reports documented the incidents, but no suspects were ever named. Each act of sabotage left Micah more isolated and afraid. In therapy sessions, Micah confided that she suspected her husband was drugging her. She described unexplained symptoms and memory lapses, and her therapist later told investigators that Micah was genuinely fearful for her life. Micah was making plans to leave for good. She packed her bags, circled a date on her calendar, and even wrote a letter to a close friend explaining her fears. But before she could escape, her life was cut short. The unanswered questions, the mounting evidence, and The heartbreak of those left behind have only fueled calls for justice and for the truth to finally come out. Imagine this, her family still shattered by loss, barely able to process the tragedy that's just torn their world apart. The echoes of grief linger in every corner of their home, every whispered conversation, every silent dinner. And yet, while the wounds are still fresh, this man is off hiking. Have a picture-perfect beach wedding, smiles, music, the sound of waves, as if nothing ever happened. Does he even feel the weight of what's been lost? Or is he just moving on? Like he didn't just lose a whole wife under the shadiest circumstances possible? No, absolutely not. Something about this just doesn't add up. And Susie? Girl, let's talk. Her story's heartbreaking, and honestly, it's hard to even know where to begin. Susie's husband, Chris Skinner, a disabled Army vet, mind you, drowned in a pool in 2021. He was a quadriplegic. They'd been married for years, and by all accounts, Susie was his rock. His caretaker, his partner, his everything. Let me say that again. Quadriplegic. Chris depended on Susie for almost everything. She was there through the surgeries, the therapy, the long nights. In the hospital, she gave up so much to care for him. And then, one summer afternoon, everything changed. Chris, who could barely move on his own, somehow, he just accidentally drowned. The whole neighborhood was shaken. People had questions, but no one had answers. And here's where it gets even messier. Right around the same time, people say Chris found out Susie was getting close with John Paul. The rumors started swirling almost immediately. You cannot make this up. Susie lost her husband. Her world turned upside down, and suddenly she was at the center of a storm she never saw coming. And that's just the beginning of her story. Now here they are, all loved up on the beach, but if you look closer, there's something off in the air. The sun is setting, but the shadows seem to linger a little too long, and the waves crash with a heaviness that feels almost ominous. They sit together, but there's a distance between them, like they're the victims of cruel fate or something, haunted by secrets only they know. No, this is not a love story. It's a slow unraveling, a wedding shrouded in silence and suspicion, where every vow echoes with something unsaid. This is the creepiest true crime slow burn I've ever seen. A story where every moment feels like the calm before a storm, and every smile hides a chilling secret. The legal trouble surrounding John Paul Miller is far from minor. Multiple women have filed lawsuits against him, each one detailing disturbing allegations of assault and misconduct that span years. One lawsuit alleges that he assaulted a girl when she was just 15 years old, an accusation supported by detailed affidavits and witness statements. The same woman claims he targeted her again as an adult, showing a disturbing pattern of predatory behavior that's now being scrutinized in court. Another plaintiff, a former student, says Miller used his position of authority to pursue her, raising even more red flags about his conduct within educational settings. These aren't just rumors or online accusations. These are formal lawsuits backed by sworn testimony and actual court documents that lay out a chilling timeline of events. The situation escalated when the FBI got involved, raiding Miller's home as part of a broader investigation into possible federal crimes, including obstruction of justice and witness intimidation. The media frenzy that followed only highlighted the seriousness of the case. This isn't just a scandal, it's a full-blown federal investigation with national attention. With the federal government digging deep into his affairs, it's clear that the red flags around John Paul Miller aren't just rumors, they're documented, investigated, and impossible to ignore. Every day, Micah's family gathers outside the church, their faces etched with both pain and hope. They're not just demanding answers, they're demanding justice for a daughter, a sister, a friend whose story deserves to be heard. Some share memories, how Micah would light up a room with her laughter, or how she always stood up for others. They hold signs, they sing her favorite songs, and they refuse to let her name fade into silence. Their fight is somber, but it's also filled with hope. Hope that the truth will come out. Hope that their voices will finally be heard. They're not staying quiet, and neither am I. Because here's the thing. When tragedy strikes once, it's heartbreaking. But when it keeps happening over and over, it's not just coincidence anymore. If one person in your life dies under weird circumstances, okay, maybe that's just tragedy. People grieve, families mourn, and life tries to move on. But two people, that's when the whispers start. That's when people begin to wonder if something darker is at play. Two spouses from two different marriages, both gone, both under circumstances that just don't add up. The odds of that happening by chance, astronomical, and both deaths just so happen to pave the way for you and your new partner to be together. That's not tragic. That's a damn pattern. A pattern that's hard to ignore, no matter how much you want to believe in innocence. Seems to sound a lot like another lucky couple in love that we already know so well, Lori and Chad Vallow. When the same story keeps repeating, it's not just bad luck, it's a warning. And it's time we start paying attention. This isn't over, not by a long shot. The pain in this community runs deep, and the wounds are still fresh. Justice for Micah, justice for Chris, their families, friends, and everyone who loved them are demanding answers and accountability. And if there's any real justice in this world, the truth will come out, no matter how long it takes or how many secrets must be dragged into the light. John Paul's next big ceremony won't be a celebration. It'll be a reckoning. Before a judge, the say with a sentence that echoes the pain he's caused. The fight for justice is just beginning. As we close this chapter, remember, every story, no matter how dark, holds the potential for light and change. Seeking justice isn't just about one case or one headline. It's about building a world where truth is valued and compassion leads the way. It's about demanding the truth, holding power accountable, and standing up for those who can't speak for themselves. Refusing to let silence win means shining a light into the shadows, even when it's difficult. Stories like Micah's remind us that every voice counts, and that hope can be found even in the most unexpected places. Sometimes change starts with a single question or a single share. Your courage to speak up can inspire others to do the same. If this story moved you, let it be the spark that ignites action in your own life and community. Don't let it end here. Hit that like button to show your support for truth and justice. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective could be the encouragement someone else needs. Subscribe to stay updated as we dig deeper into the stories that matter. Together we can create a community that values truth, empathy, and action. Your curiosity, your outrage, and your support fuel the fight for answers. Justice isn't automatic. It's something we have to chase together. Stand with those who seek the truth. Reach out to someone who needs hope. Volunteer, donate, or simply listen. Every action matters. When we unite, our voices become impossible to ignore. We become the change we wish to see. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay hopeful. The world needs people like you, people who care, who question, and who act. Never stop asking questions, never stop seeking the truth, and never underestimate the power of your voice. Together, we can build a brighter, more just future. Until next time, keep shining your light.